Hello, everyone. Good evening once again. Thank you so much for joining this session. Sorry, we are starting 5 minutes late. I was seeing more and more people were joining, so I just wanted to make sure that once I start, everybody is there. Before we proceed, if you can hear my voice properly, if you can see my presentation, please give me a okay or a yes so I can make sure that everybody has a good network and everybody is able to hear me. Right? Okay, that's good. So, first of all, it's brilliant to see a lot of names which I saw yesterday, and even more than that, I'm seeing a lot of new names also right now. So, thank you so much. Most welcome to everyone who is new starting directly from day two. And a big thank you for everyone who was there yesterday and they thought that they too could contribute to their time and it will be worth it. And I want to make sure that it should be worth it. So today, what we are going to do is, uh, guys, first and foremost, let's understand the very basics of the buying and selling of these products. Um, okay, somebody just asked me, can you tell what we missed? Okay. So, what we missed yesterday, it's more like what we started with yesterday was uh, how many kinds of asset classes are there which you can invest. So, we understood about risk appetite, we understood about how do you measure your risk on the basis of your income, on the basis of your expenses, on the basis of your how many family members you have, who is the earning member, and a lot of things. And on the basis of that, you move on and start selecting your financial instrument which you want to invest. So, for example, if you're looking at commodities, are relatively riskier than stocks. Bonds are relatively less riskier than stocks. So this way we select our product and we move on for the investment. And why do we invest? Because of the fear of the eroding value of money, which is called inflation. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Today, we are straight away going to get into the platform and understand first how to create a watch list, how to track products, how much instruments move on day basis. So that helps you understand your risk and reward. And at the same time, how to buy and sell, what are the risks involved, how to manage those risks. And these are all the things which we are going to discuss today. So I see more and more people joining in. Please, most and most welcome. A lot of you who have joined yesterday must be having your demo accounts. Those who are joining today, I'm sure you will be uh, available with a demo account if your RM has given. If not, just look at my demo account and you can click pictures, record this session, and we can see you personally as well for a one-on-one session. Uh, I have someone who's saying, telling me about the presentation. If the view is not clear to you, just try logging out and logging in again. I think most of the people can see the presentation. Uh, Please, if you can just log out and log in again, it will be easy for me to do it because it's right there. It's no settings have changed since yesterday, so maybe it's the difference in the perspective of the screen, right? Okay. Anybody who okay, I haven't got a demo account or RM from yesterday. Okay, in that case, please do one thing. My email address is yogesh@century.ae. I'm just going to type it right here. So, any queries you have about this, I will do. You can directly text me, and I'll be able to talk to you. So please send your queries and questions, and I'll provide you an RM as soon as possible, right? So for others who have their demo accounts with you, again, guys, it's optional. If you just want to see and listen what I'm doing, you can do that as well, or you can practice while you have demo accounts with you. First thing you have to do to understand and how to log into your demo account, please go to www.century.ae. Okay, if you go to century.ae, let me share the screen with you. You will see something like this, www.century.ae. Once you are on century.ae, just go on platform, go to trading platforms, or what you can do is just go directly to trade room right here from the platform, scroll down, and you will see Windows and Mac right here, and you can click on access trade room, right? So this is the link which you can see. I'm just going to copy this link right here and send it on the chat so everybody can use this. You can use this and you can bookmark this so it will be easy for you to log in next time. Right now, you must be given a username and a password. Username will be something like demo and a 5-digit number, could be 1 2 3 4 or 1 5 6 7 given. Put your username as demo and that number at century.ae, and your password will be century12345, all small caps, and you can log into your platform. Right? Again, for those people who do not have the demo account, please do not worry about this. We can always have one-on-one session, or you can just see what I'm doing right now, and you can have a demo account tomorrow and practice the same thing. So no need to worry about. Now, first things first, everybody who has logged in now, if somebody has logged in, just give me a okay or yes. So I am sure that if at least few people are using the demo, so I'll do my session accordingly. Otherwise, I'll just go on and keep doing my platform. Okay, there are few people who have logged in. Okay, that's good. That's good. No problem. Anybody who is joining new doesn't have a demo account, please do not worry about it. I'll make sure that by the end of the day, you have an RM and you have a demo and you can use it properly. So tomorrow you can put it to good use, right? So I'm just going to go back to my presentation. Great. Now, yesterday I said that whatever discussion I will have for this 4 to 5 days in this investor education week, please understand that I will share a lot of information with you. I'll share a lot of updates with you, but none of that would anyway mean that I'm assuring any kind of returns, or there's no market secret, or there is no secret of trading which can help you get a Ferrari or a big house, right? Please be away from these kind of uh, gimmicks which a lot of people do when they conduct these kind of seminars and webinars. It's very hard to understand market, and that's why nobody can understand it 100%. Not me, not you, not anyone else. It's a gradual learning process. You make profits, you make losses, and then you learn from your mistakes, and then you move on, right? So you need to have a very basic understanding. You don't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to learn this from an institution. This is something which, if you're aware about what is happening around you, it's more than enough. So I'm just going to conduct this session. So please understand this. Do not borrow money or take a loan to trade or speculate into the markets. I'm saying this again and again. I'm going to say this every day because I'm sure new people will join every day. Please do not borrow money. Please do not take loan from anyone to trade or speculate. Don't leave your jobs or businesses to thinking that this is an additional source of income. Markets are risky. In fact, today we are going to talk about one such risk, which is called margin trading or trading on leverage. Yesterday, somebody asked me a question that should I trade with leverage or should I not trade with leverage? So, tell you first of all how margin trading or leverage trading works in your trading accounts, I will show you that. And I will do live trading with you to make you understand that what are the risks involved. Your basic demo accounts are with $10,000, but you can add more money and increase the equity. And yes, there was a correlation chart which I said yesterday I will share, so I can, and it is a part of this presentation, so you can click a picture and you can definitely see this chart as well. Now, starting with margin trading. What margin trading normally means, A method of trading assets using fund provided by a third party. Let's try to make it simple. Uh, if you want to buy $10,000 worth shares or $10,000 worth gold or $10,000 worth oil, I'm giving a standard example of $10,000. It is up to you how much equity you have and how much money you want to invest. But let's say my demo account is $10,000. So if you want to buy stocks worth $10,000, you do not necessarily need to have that kind of money to purchase the share. So what does it mean? It means margin account will allow a trader to access greater sums of capital, allowing them to leverage their position. Let me tell you a very good example, and let me take you to the platform and show you practically how this works. And those who have the demo can do it with me. Those who do not right now can just directly look at what I'm doing and try to understand and apply the same thing when you have your demo account with you. Okay, let me just trade on the right one. And please, as I said, this will be a regular practice. Continue writing your questions and queries on the chat window. Uh, Before I finish my session, I'll try to answer all the questions and queries which you have. So nothing is left for tomorrow. We'll try to answer everything today and finish the session on time. Now, the moment you log in to your system, either you will see this layout. If you don't see this layout, just go to products library right here. And when you click on the library, you will see the window opening, which I have right now. Just click here on product library and you can see this entire products, right? Now, I discussed about the asset classes yesterday. I discussed about commodities. I discussed about currencies, mutual funds or ETFs, stock indices, share baskets, shares. So I'm going to talk about these instruments, and I'm going to trade live today and tell you how margin trading works. And at the back, please keep writing any questions which you face right now while I discuss this. Now, as I said, margin trading or leverage trading is a concept through which your buying power increases. If you want to buy something worth $100,000 and you have $10,000 in your trading account, you can buy something worth $100,000. So the concept of leverage is very simple. It was introduced in the financial markets to increase the productivity of your capital. And how it happens, let's take a live example right now. Uh, Give me name of a stock. Give me a name of a share. I'll start with shares because it's much easier to understand. Tell me any share which you like to purchase. Anyone, please use your chat window. So let's try to make it more interactive. Any share you like me to buy within the US market, if possible. Okay, I see Airbnb. Let me see if it is already there on my platform. I think, yeah, it's right here. Okay, so somebody said Airbnb. So what I'm doing right now, guys, I'm clicking on search and searching the product. So the one which, if you have a demo account, you can do the same thing. Search for BNB and you will write Airbnb. Okay, other people, Tesla, Apple, Tesla. Oh, okay, Tesla. Somebody said EMAR. So currently we are not doing in UAE markets. So try if you can think of a US based stock like General Motors or anything. A lot of people for Apple and Tesla. Okay, Pfizer. Okay, great. So I'm gonna take these few ones, and please keep writing, keep writing. So I'll take uh, the same also. Okay, so Airbnb is one. Let's make it much more organized. How do I make it much more organized? Next to your product library, there is something called watch list. Your favorites, something which you would want to see every time you log in. And even if you're not trading in them, you can see their price movements. So what I would do, I create a watch list right here, click on the watch list, click on create new watch list right here. I'm clicking on create new watch list. And you see there's a window opening. Let me name this watch list by saying investor Investor Education Week Day 2. Okay, so if you click outside, you see the watch list is ready. Now, why I'm creating a watch list? Because now there are so many products you guys have suggested me. Neo, Amazon, Boeing, Starbucks. So what I'm doing is I'll make a watch list of all this. So just next to this name, there's an add option. Those who are using the demo with me, please clearly watch. Those who are not, just look how to add the watch list. I'm adding this product. I write BNB, it comes Airbnb. Then I add one more product right here. If you see Apple, I add Apple. I'm adding more products, guys, here. Tesla. So I write Tesla and Tesla comes in right here. Again, this plus option right here. Again, I add Neo, for example. I can see Neo. Okay, the sticker is not there. There was one more. Amazon, Boeing, Starbucks. Okay, so I'm going to add here Amazon and then Boeing, Starbucks. Good, we have different sectors right here. And then, so as you can see, I have added everything on my watch list. Now, next time you log in, go to your watch list, you will find Investor Education Week Day 2. You click on this and you will find the list of these shares already added to your watch list. How does this help you? It helps you in do not going for a search again, and you can track these shares every day by their percentage increase or decrease. Tell me, while looking at this platform, Airbnb has gone up today or Airbnb has come down today? Use your chat option and tell me how much it has gone down by percentage terms. Tell me how much percentage Airbnb has gone up or down. So if you think it has gone up by 1%, write up by 1%. If you think it has gone down by 5%, write down by 5%. But tell me the percentage, how much percentage it has come down. Okay, great. So most of you can see that Airbnb is down today because the percentage change on my watch list reflects a red and it shows you the percentage, right? So today Airbnb is down by 8% or 9%, it keeps changing. Which other stock from this watch list you see is going down? Which other stock in this watch list you see has come down? Tell me, guys, which other stock is down today? Okay, great. So everybody can see, apart from Airbnb, there is one more stock in this watch list which is down, and that is Neo, right? Now, now we can see clearly how do we read the watch list. In the last corner, last column, there's a buying and the selling price which is fluctuating. So that's your current market price. And just before that, there is a percentage increase or decrease of the stock for today. So you can see stocks like Tesla are up by 2.7%. Stocks like Amazon are up by 2.3%, right? So this is the percentage increase for today. Just before this, you will see starting from the left, the first lowest of the day, then highest of the day, then what price the stock opened, and yesterday what price did it close, and what's the current price. So if you see Airbnb, tell me the closing price of Airbnb yesterday, looking at this watch list. Anyone? Tell me the closing price, tell me the price at which Airbnb closed yesterday, looking at this watch list. Okay, I got one answer. Others, how about others? Yes, yes. So everybody can see. Now, somebody said 135.1. That's the opening price. That's the price at which it opened today. But what price it closed yesterday is next to the opening price. That is 139.24. Extremely right. Absolutely right. Everybody who said 139.24. So the price at which it closed yesterday was 139. And today, right now, the current price is 128. It did open at 135, but then it went down to 128. So that's why it's down today by 8%, right? So that's why, again, anyone who's saying 135, that's the opening price, that's not the closing price. Closing price, at what price it closed yesterday when the markets closed. Opening price is today when the markets opened at 6:30 p.m. in the evening, Dubai time. It opened, it reached to 135, and it goes down. So, okay, one question is there: how does a stock make a sudden change even though the market was closed? So that is called pre-market trading. And when the actual stock market opens, there is a possibility that before the stock market opens, in the pre-market, the share falls down, and it can be due to any market news and event. How does the price change after the market close? Exactly. How there is a pre-market trading, there is a post-market session also, in which you cannot buy or sell, but it happens in the exchange. After the market is closed, the stock moves for another 25-30 minutes, but that is not, you cannot trade in it. But the stock price goes up and down post-market. Not all brokers allow this facility. There are very few brokers who would allow this facility, but all the margin based accounts, it's impossible to trade in the pre-market or the post-market. But the answer to the question that how the share price moves after the market closes, in that for the 30 minutes or so, it can move, and again then the market will completely close and there will be no movement throughout while you're sleeping. But the next morning, again, before the market opens, 30 minutes before or 40 minutes before, there is a chance that you can see again some movement happening. So there are institutional investors who get the opportunity to take trades in the pre-market and post-market. So a lot of financial institutions, a lot of institutional investors like corporate houses or big companies, they or the hedge funds basically, they can trade in pre-market and post-market sessions. Okay, and the stocks which shows inactive status can be activated in the live accounts, so it should not be a problem. There will be a market data fee, and we can always discuss about it, right? So again, coming back to the question, now we have understood we have these stocks. Now I will take a trade, and I'll show you how margin trading and leverage works. Everybody has a certain amount of equity in their trading account. Like mine says $10,000. If somebody wants to trade with a higher equity, all you have to do in your demo account, go to the account and click on funding right here. And when you click on funding, it comes add funds to your demo account. So let's say I want to add $20,000 more right now, add funds. So now my account is $30,000. So it's up to you how much money you want to add in your account, because everybody would have a number in the mind that you want to invest with 10,000, 20, 30, 50, 100. So you can add it accordingly. I've put up a standard $30,000 equity in my account. I'm going to trade with it. Now, coming back to the margin trading, let's understand very quickly. So we'll start with Airbnb first. I want to take some Airbnb stocks. Okay. How do I do it? To buy, sell anything on margin or leverage, first I need an order ticket. What is an order ticket? Order ticket is a window through which you punch in your order and you click on buy and the trade gets executed. So how do I do that? Just click on any price of Airbnb you see flickering, buying and selling price. So this is a buying and a selling price of Airbnb. Let's say I click on a buy price here and you will see the order ticket coming in. I hope everybody can see this order ticket. So it shows the buying price of Airbnb is $129.23. Okay. If you want to buy one share of Airbnb, you need $129.2. I hope everybody can see. Please keep writing your questions. Any questions you have, please keep writing, even in regards to the platform. The people who have joined today, just go with this, just understand what I'm trying to explain to you. Now, this is Airbnb. We have heard about the company, what it does. It recently got listed in the stock markets. So now you can see the stock price moving. It is $129 per share. Now, how much money do I have? I have $30,000 in my account. Where I can see this, at the top on the right corner, I can see the account value which says $30,000. Now, let's say I just want to buy Airbnb stocks worth 30,000. What I need to do? I know one share is 128. So if I write in the units column on the left side 1 and then press enter, it shows me the total value $128, right? If I buy one share of Airbnb, it costs me $128. If I write 100 shares, it shows me $12,840. So if you see the units and the amount value, it gets calculated automatically. If I write 1,000 shares of Airbnb and press enter, it shows $128,000, right? But I want to buy Airbnb shares around $30,000 worth, the money which I have in my trading account. So what I do, I write $30,000 in the amount section and press enter. And now the number of shares automatically gets calculated. I hope everybody can see this. Anyone, guys, who's not able to understand anything, just put me a question on the chat and I'll try to simplify this for you. All I have done right now is open the Airbnb share order ticket. I wanted to buy $30,000 worth Airbnb, so I wrote in the amount $30,000 and the number of shares automatically gets calculated. Now, here's the thing. I have $30,000 in my account and I'm buying shares worth $30,000. So what's the catch here? How, when I do a purchase or when I do a transaction, what happens next? Let me show you something called product overview. So how do you go to product overview? This is your order ticket right here. Select the top menu, go to product overview. And here you can see something called margin rate, which says 15%. That means whatever is the total value of stocks you want to buy, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your trading account. If you want to buy $30,000 worth shares, you have to just give 15% of this total value from your account, and rest is something which you get as leverage. For now, just understand in this way. Anybody who is not able to trade right now, just understand the concept. Those who are with me, who are trading the demo account, no worries. Those who cannot, just understand this concept, what I'm trying to tell you. Because all trading platforms, all CFD trading platforms, they work this way. So whether you trade from me or using my platform or any other platform in the world, the concept will be similar. So please understand this very carefully. The concept of leverage works how? You want to buy today Airbnb stocks worth $30,000. You have $30,000 in your trading account, but you do not have to pay full 30,000 because Airbnb has a product margin of 15%, which means 15% of 30,000 is $4,500, which you can see in your order ticket. It shows estimated margin $4,500. That means from your $30,000 equity, all you have to give is $4,500 and you can have Airbnb shares worth 30,000. So I'm going to do this transaction. Please see next to the account value, total margin and available balance. See what happens there when I click here. I click on buy. It's a 2-click process. So you click again. See, real-time price, it got hit. Airbnb, I have bought 235 shares at a buying price of 127.36. See it very carefully what has happened here. I just purchased in my account 235 shares of Airbnb at a price of 127, and it is equivalent to $30,000, right? Now, if you see, my account value is fluctuating. It says 29,984. Any queries related to cost, let's discuss one-on-one and we'll be able to give you. So cost and the charges, it will be documented and sent it to you on your email. So you can always discuss about that. Now, what we have done right now, so let's focus on understanding the trade, how it got placed. We opened the order ticket, we put number, we put the total value, and we placed the order. And now trade is done. How do I know that I have purchased Airbnb shares? I need to track it, right? I need to see what is the current value of my investment. So product library was supposed to show me the library. Watch list was supposed to help me to create my favorites list. Account is supposed to show me what trades I have taken. So the first thing, you go positions, and this window comes in, you maximize this, and you see that you have purchased Airbnb shares. B stands for buy, 235 shares worth $30,000. This is the current price at which you have purchased. The margin which is blocked is 15%. So to purchase this $30,000 worth of shares from your 30,000 equity, from your total account of $30,000, only 4,500 has been taken, and rest is called leverage. So if you see from your account $30,000, 4,500 is blocked here as a margin, and rest $25,000 right here, 25,500 is the remaining cash balance or the remaining available balance. You are currently in a loss of $10, and you can see right here in the P&L with a red mark. This will fluctuate accordingly. If it goes in profit, it becomes green. If it goes in loss, it becomes red. And this is how you keep tracking your investments. Okay, now there's a question right here. So basically, we get 15% of the profit gained. No. So that's not how it works. Your profit and losses are not capped in it. Just because you have provided 15% of the total value of the shares, it doesn't mean that you will only get 15% of the profit. That's the beauty of leverage. You block 15% of the total value, but your profit and loss is dependent on the complete value of the, so tomorrow $30,000 worth Airbnb you have. If Airbnb goes up by 100%, then you have a $30,000 profit. So you get 100% profit. It's not restricted. The profit and loss is not restricted to how much margin you have blocked. Okay. Now, many of you will ask, why this procedure? Why margin or why leverage at all? First, please just once again go through this concept, what I did. I just bought $30,000 worth shares in my trading account where I had $30,000, but I only used a fraction of that money. I still have the position. I still have Airbnb shares worth $30,000. All I have given from my account is just 15% of the total value. You see right now I have a very small profit of $7, $8. So my account value continues to show me a real-time movement, right? So friends, let's understand now why leverage at all. How does it contribute to the productivity of my capital? Just see it this way. Right now, if Airbnb, let's understand the profit loss scenario also. That's also very important. Tell me, okay, there's a question. I'll take this question also in 2 to 3 minutes. Don't worry about it. Profit or loss impact on the value of my margin. Margin falls below the available fund. Is it possible to square off my position automatically? Okay, good questions. Good questions coming in. So let's discuss the profit and loss. Let's discuss the risk, and then let's try to answer the questions. So if you guys have calculators with you, switch it on. And I'm sure, please, you should have a notepad with you. I have notepad with me. Please have a dedicated notepad for these 4 or 5 days when you sit with me. It will be very helpful for you. Now, take on your calculators, or if you are very good in mental maths, go ahead. If the stock value of Airbnb goes to 162, for example, from the current price, how much is your total profit? You can see the positions. I will read it out for you. Right now, Airbnb is 230. You have 235.54 shares. Okay. And your purchase price is 127.36. Now, my question to you is, if Airbnb stock price goes to 162, what is the total profit? What is the total profit on your position? Use your calculators, guys. You have 235 shares, and right now the current price of Airbnb, the one where you have purchased, is 127.36. Now tell me, if The price goes to 162. What's your total profit? I'm doing it at my end also. Brilliant. So almost similar answers. One is a very different answer. Somebody said $38,000 profit. Uh, Not $38,000 profit. All you have to do is uh, just understand the difference right now. You have purchased at 127. If it goes to 162, difference is around $32 multiplied by the number of shares you have, and definitely $8,000 is, I'm sure, approximate everybody is getting $8,000 worth of profit, right? Now, $8,000 profit. And we are talking about how many shares? We are talking about from 128 to 162. Now, this is a very big scenario. Okay. Let's not uh, understand that, okay, if it goes to 162, you're making $8,000 profit. How much is $8,000 if you see in percentage terms? It is almost 30% profit which you are getting right now. Is that correct? Right? If you see $8,000 profit in a $30,000 account, it is almost 30%. Now, what you have invested, all you have invested is $4,500. But from a smaller movement, from a smaller price movement in Airbnb, you saw your profit going up by 30% or 27%. So that is something which is the significance of leverage, that you do not have to use your complete funds, but from a significant price movement, you can see higher profit percentage. So the productivity of your capital kinds of increases. I'll take a much easier example right now. Let me show you one more example right here. So right now I have a very small profit of $36. I will continue holding this. Let me show you what else we can do. So there was a big watch list which I started. Let me see other stocks from the watch list. Let's see. Okay, let's see Tesla Motors right now. I click on Tesla. Tesla share is $634 for one share. $634, guys, for one share, which means, let's say I'm thinking I'll buy 50 shares of Tesla, which means 50 multiplied by the price, around $31,000. So let me make it $30,000 worth Tesla shares. I already have $30,000 worth Airbnb. Now I'm buying $30,000 worth Tesla. Now, if I am buying $30,000 worth, I've already bought Airbnb worth $30,000. I'm buying $30,000 worth Tesla also. If I only had 30,000, then how I'm able to buy $60,000 worth shares? So this is where I will talk about the risk as well. I will also talk about the consequences of what happens when the price goes down, because that's the most important part. So first of all, I'm just explaining you what is this concept is, and then I'll explain you what the risk is and then how to manage those risks. So it will be a step-on-step procedure. Just try to understand right now what is the process, and then we'll understand the risk and the steps to manage it, right? I already have $30,000 worth shares in my $30,000 worth trading account, which was Airbnb. But because I only used 15% of my equity, I could hold shares worth $30,000. And I was left with $25,000 in my account. As you can see, there's an available cash which says 25,545 just next to my account value on the left. It says $25,000, right? Now, to buy Tesla shares, tell me how much margin I will need to buy $30,000 worth Tesla. You can see it on my screen. How much margin will I need to buy Tesla shares worth $30,000? You can see it on my screen right now. I've already punched in the order. Okay. So to buy Tesla shares, yes, almost $3,000 I will need. So that means the percentage which Tesla requires, Airbnb was 15%. So Tesla requires 10% margin from my equity, right? So all I have to give is 10% margin, which means from my $30,000 value, all I have to block is $3,000. I have $25,000 remaining, which means when I click here on buy, I will be able to purchase Tesla shares worth $30,000. Now I go back to my positions. I already purchased it. Now see, I have two trades right now. I'm making $93 profit in Airbnb. I'm making a smaller profit in Tesla right now. Again, $100 in Airbnb. It keeps fluctuating until I close my trade and book my loss. If you see, there is an equation which has changed. On the left side now, my available equity from 25,000 has come down to 22 because the 3,000 margin has been taken. My total margin is now increased to $7,000. Most importantly, if you see at the bottom, there is a figure of $60,000. What is this $60,000? Because now I have 30,000 worth Airbnb and 30,000 worth Tesla, which means in a $30,000 of my account, I am trading worth $60,000, which means I am trading twice the money which I have just because I have to, I have the facility to trade in margins, right? So okay, the question, if you have an account worth $30,000, how much total leverage we'll have in our account? Currently, what you see right now is stocks. So you see 10%, 15%, 4 to 5 times leverage maximum, which means if you have $30,000 account, you should be able to trade maximum, and which will be most aggressive for you. It will be around 100,000 or $120,000, depending on which instrument you are trading in. That means leverage is a double-edged sword. Yesterday I said that leverage is a double-edged sword. So today I've told you how to buy and sell in this. Now come to the riskier part. To show the riskier part, I have to go crazy in demo account. Now those who have live accounts, yes, margin trading and leverage trading is exactly same. There's barely any difference. Uh, it's just if I have $30,000 account and I have positions, I have trades worth 100,000, it's leverage. But if I have $30,000 worth trading account and I have shares worth $30,000, then basically it's margin trading. I'm not leveraging here. So it's a very thin line difference. Now, those who have their live accounts, please do not replicate these trades. These trades are just for your information. There is no research being done. I'm just doing random trades. Okay. Now I'm going to take a very aggressive trade and I'm going to show you a full leverage trade, how much you can buy within this capacity of the trading account and what happens when you use your full leverage. Again, this is the high risk aggressive trade. If you have a demo account, try this out, but please do not try this in your live accounts now or ever. This is a very aggressive trade which I'm going to take right now to show you what are the risks involved in the leverage. Now what I did, uh, let me go a bit different and let me take, okay, say Amazon shares also. So I'm going to buy $30,000 worth Amazon shares. 10 shares worth 30,000 right here, $1,500 margin. I click, I take it. Now I'm also going to add gold in this right here, gold cash. Gold, guys, right here, this is $1,826 for 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce is 31 grams. So I will put commodity into this. And let me tell you, margin in stock is 10 to 15%. In commodities, it can be 0.5% also, 1% also, depending on which commodity you are taking. So right now, let's say if I want to buy $1 million worth gold, those who are looking at this, if I want to buy $1 million worth gold, how much margin do I have to block? And tell me a yes or no answer. Can I buy $1 million gold in this trading account? Okay, so I see everybody can understand this. I can buy $1 million worth because I have $20,000 left in my available account. So what I'm going to do, I'm going crazy on this one. I'm buying $1 million. This means it is 546 ounces, right? I click on buy. I just bought $1 million worth gold right here. Look at my position. Look at my loss right now. It's 500, 300, 200. It's moving fast, right? Look at gold prices going up and down, going crazy. Okay. Now Look at my total account value right here. Look at this mouse, look at this cursor, 1.1 million right here, right? 1.1 million. This is the total value of my portfolio. In a $30,000 account, because I've included a commodity now, I can trade worth 1 million. I still have $15,000. So what I do, I look for something else. I want to diversify. So what I do, I add crude oil also in this. I was talking about commodities yesterday, right? So let's say I add crude oil. Oil right now $49 per barrel. So what I do, I buy, let's say, $1 million worth of oil. How much I need? 0.75%, so $7,500. I have $15,000, 20,000 barrels. So look at these guys. I'm buying 20,000 barrels of oil right now, which means if oil from 49 goes to 50, I make $20,000. If it goes down to 48, I lose $20,000 because I have 20,000 barrels, right? Look at this. Look at my portfolio. Is this safe? Is this safe? It is not safe. So please do not to use this in your live account. If you have demo accounts, try this out. Go crazy in your demo accounts, no problem. Demo accounts can come back. Live accounts, this is your hard-earned money. So please do not try this aggressive. Look at the total portfolio value. Tell me, what is the total portfolio value? You can see my account right now. Tell me, what is the total value of my portfolio? What is the total size of my portfolio? How much money what is the size of my positions right now? 10 million, 20 million, half a million, 1 million, how much? Great. So I hope everybody can see this, that right now I have $2 million worth trades in a $30,000 account, right? Is this aggressive? Absolutely. What are the risks involved? Now, if in a $2 million portfolio, let's say the value of this portfolio drops by, say, 10%. It can very easily, 10% is a very easy number. If the portfolio value goes down by 10%, what is my total loss, guys? If this $2 million portfolio drops down by 10%, what is my total loss? If there's a drop in this portfolio of $2 million by 10%, what is my total loss? Good, good, very good. $200,000. $200,000. Everybody understands it. $200,000. Tell me how much I invested, how much equity I had. I had $30,000 in my account. Now you're asking if there's a 10% drop, I have to pay $200,000. That is where the leverage is a problem, right? Because I increased my portfolio size by so much in chance of, so if portfolio value goes up by 10%, I will make $200,000 also, right? But let's not talk about profits at all. Let's talk about losses. Let's talk about aggressive leverage trading, which leads to higher losses, right? So if the portfolio value drops, I lose 200,000. But because I have $30,000 now, this is a very a bad business for the broker. Why a broker would give you a leverage, and then if you don't have $200,000 and you have taken a $2 million position, you never had $2 million at the first place. So how this business will carry on? So what happens is now there are a lot of questions which are coming over here itself. So I'm giving all the answers together. Now what happens here is every broker has something called a liquidation point. Okay, how the liquidation point works? You see that's available balance, the one which is in blue on the top menu next to your account value, which is $6,000. Which, if this available balance becomes zero, which means this remaining $6,000, if you lose right now in the current rates, you receive something called margin call. Margin call means it's the official notification from the broker to you that all your money is either being blocked as a margin and the remaining you have lost in the trade. So if you want to continue holding these trades, please add more money. Okay. Now there are two things to it. Either you will add more funds right? And your account will start going, you will add more funds and you will continue holding your positions. And second scenario is you do nothing, just pray to God, and your trades might start getting in positive. And let's face it, it barely ever works out. So praying to God is aside. Adding funds is one option, but if you do not add more money, what happens? If you do not add more money and the account value continues to drop, so to at least make sure under the normal market condition that you do not owe extra to the broker, when your account value reaches 50% of the total margin, once again, if your account value reaches 50% of the total margin blocked, all your trades are automatically closed and your loss is booked. How you can find this out? Look here, this circle right here, small circle. Look at this small circle next to the account value information. Click on information, a window will come, scroll it down and see at the end standard closeout level $10,000. Because the margin is 21,500, if your account value from $27,000 drops to 10,700, all your trades worth 2 million will be closed, which means you are left with $10,000. You lost $20,000 in this entire trading, right? Right? Somebody asked me, do you have to pay the debt difference or will it automatically close at zero? So that's what I'm telling you, that if your account value reaches 50% of your total margin blocked, all your trades are closed completely. Okay, that's an automatic procedure. Under normal market conditions, all your trades are closed, and whatever money you are left with in your account value is the money which you can continue to trade with or withdraw or add more funds and do it. So when you take a higher leverage, 2 million, $5 million position, that is the problem. Why people get attracted towards higher leverage, because they see that there is very limited to lose. And if the trade works out in their favor, they are going to make a lot of money. Let's not encourage this thought. Let's not encourage this thinking when I say leverage or margin trading. Somebody is asking about what is a conservative way of using margin. So I'm telling you, if you have put $30,000, take trades worth either 30 or 40 or 50 or max to max 60,000. 1:2 is what it is called the conservative leverage. If you have $30,000 trading worth 60,000, it is considerably, relatively less riskier than going 10 times or 20 times higher. So somebody asked, what is the safest leverage position, 20% or 30%? No, so if you have put $30,000, you trade either worth 30, which is the most conservative, the money which you already have. So until the stock goes to zero, you don't have any margin calls, or you trade 2 times than your equity. If you trade any higher, then the leverage becomes moderate and slowly it becomes aggressive. So then you are at a point where you can make a lot of money, but then you can lose also a lot of money. So please do not do that. What if you don't want to use margin? So there are cash accounts also. You can use Interactive Brokers, which is a different platform, and you can open a cash account also. That can help you out. So if you want, see, using margin can only helps you to diversify easily if you use it properly and if you don't abuse it, right? Now, right now, if you see, your account value has quickly from 30,000 has come to 22,000, which means you're looking $8,000 so fast. Why? Because the total value of your portfolio is $2 million. Now, there is one more concept. Let me show you first and foremost. Now, you understood the risk, you understood the leverage risk. How do you manage those risks? There are different ways of managing the risk. One of them is by putting a stop loss. Now, right now, the trades which I have taken are way down. As you can see now, your available has started going negative, which means there is a margin call. If it goes any down further and your account value reaches to 10,000, automatically all your trades will be closed. Now, stop loss has a very significant meaning. Stop loss allows you to restrict your loss Okay, there's one question. I will answer this question by the end. Please keep writing questions and I will answer all your questions. Now, if how a stop loss works, a stop loss is a very basic strategy of restricting your loss to a certain point. Let's say I'm looking at Amazon.com right now. We have a stop loss, we have a take profit also. Let's say I'm looking at Amazon.com right now. I'm losing around uh, $63 right here. Now, if I have a number in mind, let's say I don't want to lose more than $500 in this trade. So what I do, I click on this small pen, modification pen right here, and I click on stop loss and I write $500 stop loss as an amount. You can also put a price to it, it's up to you. Or at the same time, I want to book $1,000 profit. You press enter and you get $1,000. When you modify this, you will see that now you have a range. So if your profit reaches to $1,000, this trade will be closed automatically, whether you are seeing it or not. And if it reaches to $500 loss, your trade will close automatically if you're watching, whichever comes first. If your loss hits first, then you lose. If your take profit comes first, then your profit is automatically booked. And so this is one way of managing your risk. Sometimes people take a lot of aggressive trades, but they put stop losses there. Like if you have taken $1 million position but kept a stop loss of $1,000, so then your loss is restricted to 1,000. Whether you are watching the portfolio or not, it reaches to that price and it hits that level and the trade is closed, right? So that is one way to do it. Second thing, now let me, while there are many people here, see, already there is an account closeout warning which has started coming in, right? So somebody asked me a question. I couldn't understand if I lost $200,000 and I have 30,000 in my account, how to pay the difference. So the broker is putting the liquidation button for the reason that before it reaches to a point where you lose more than what you have invested, your account automatically sells all the positions which you have and you are left with a certain amount of money. In this case, it is 50% of the total margin. So if your account value reaches $10,000, so from your 30,000, the moment you lose 20, all your trades are closed. So it doesn't reaches to that point where you lose 200k and you have to pay the difference under the normal market conditions. So that's how normally it works when it comes to leverage based trades. Every broker has a liquidation point and mostly it is 50% of the margin, right? So this is how you take a leverage trade and you put a stop loss. Now, while many of you are here, answer to this question. Answer to this question. Tell me what you feel about it. Is it possible to make money while markets are crashing? Please point this out, while markets are crashing, not after the markets have crashed. My question is it possible to make money while the markets are already going down? If the markets are crashing, can you make money? Not after the markets have crashed. It's very simple. After the markets have crashed, you can buy and markets recover, you can make profit. But I'm asking, is it possible to make money while markets are crashing? Come on, go ahead, guys. Vote for it. Even if you don't know it, just add don't know. We wouldn't know everything. Is it possible to make money while markets are crashing? Okay, go ahead. We'll take one more minute before we end the poll so everybody can answer this question. Again, is it possible to make money while stock markets are crashing? Okay, great. I'm already getting more and more answers. So let me end this poll right away. And you can see 84% of the people think, yes, we can make money from the market crash while the markets are crashing. And a lot of responses here. Some of you are not aware about it. Some of you don't think that we can make money from the market crash. No problem. So I'll show you something which is called a short selling. And guys, again, as I said, it's a day on day event. So yesterday we talked about the available asset classes. Today we talked about margin trading, leverage, risk, and risk management using first stop loss. Second, we'll talk about short selling. Third, we'll talk about diversification and pair trades as well before we finish this, right? So please just be with me. Tomorrow we'll talk about fundamentals. After that, we'll talk about technicals. After that, we'll do the live trade. So it's a day on day. Nobody gets confused in this. And let's try to focus segment by segment. It will be easier for everyone. So yes, we can make, there is a possibility of generating a profit while the markets are crashing. And that is done by using the tools, something what we call as short selling. Now, short selling, let me quickly first show you how the short selling would work here. You sell a stock in the market when the price is up, and when the price drops, you buy it back and keep the difference. Now, many of you will feel how we can actually sell something and how we can make money from the market crash. Let's take example of let's take example of this bottle of water, or at best let's take it one example of this bottle of sanitizer. It's a very good bottle of sanitizers. What we understood in pandemic, sanitizers are very important. During, if you remember, during the pandemic, the price of one bottle of sanitizer was way higher. It was very difficult to find it. Sanitizers, mask, gloves, and toilet paper rolls. I don't know for what reason toilet rolls became expensive, but these things were really expensive. Imagine this during pandemic. Let's say, now I'll explain you the concept of short selling. Let's say the bottle of this sanitizer, you saw it was 100 dirhams. Okay, pandemic times are going on. The bottle of sanitizer is 100 dirhams. Now, you were actively involved in the development of the COVID vaccine. And you thought, okay, next 5 6 months, there is a possibility that vaccine is going to come. Then the price of this bottle of sanitizer is not going to be 100 dirhams because nobody would need it. So the prices will start dropping. Right now, just because it is in demand, the prices are high. So what you do, you came to me and you came to me and you said that Yogesh, I want to borrow a bottle of sanitizer from you. I said, okay, if you want to borrow, because if you want to borrow, then I wouldn't ask any money from you because I'm not selling it to you. I'm just giving it to you. I'm lending it to you. So I lend you this bottle of sanitizer and you take this bottle of sanitizer and go home. Now, when you go home, what do? You sell this bottle of sanitizer to somebody else in the market. Now, what was the price of the bottle of sanitizer? What I said in the beginning, if you're listening to me, what was the price of this bottle of sanitizer? Somebody must have listened what I said. Okay, I got one answer. Yes. Okay, great. For a moment, I was just scared because I can't see what you guys are doing. Okay, great. So yeah, everybody's answer. Yes, 100 dirhams, right? Now you borrowed this sanitizer bottle from me. You went home and you sold it to the market. So how much money you receive? You receive 100 dirhams. If you have a notebook right now, write plus 100. Write plus 100 in your notebook because this is the money right here, plus 100. Write in your notebook because this is the money which you have received by selling the bottle of sanitizer which you borrowed from me. Okay, so this is a plus 100 in your account. Now, fast forward You kept that 100 dirhams with you 5 months, 6 months. Vaccine came out. Pfizer, BioNTech, AstraZeneca, everybody declared that we are going to come up with a vaccine. Now, when this news came out, the bottle of this sanitizer, now that this sanitizer bottle, the price of this bottle of sanitizer from 100 dirhams came down to 50 dirhams. Now you thought there's an opportunity. When I sold it, I got 100 dirhams. Transaction was not complete because you borrowed this bottle of sanitizer from me. So you have to give it back to me, right? So when you sold it, you received 100 dirhams plus 100. But now you go back into the market and you buy this bottle back so you can give it back to me. But now when you buy it back, how much you buy it back for? What is the current price? After the vaccines have come, what is the current price of this bottle of sanitizer? It has dropped from 100 dirhams to what price? Absolutely, 50. So the 100 dirhams which you had with you, which you received after selling this bottle in the market, now when you buy this bottle back from 100 dirhams, you pay 50. So in your notebook, the plus 100, now write minus 50. So you are left with how much? You are left with 50 dirhams, which is your profit. And you got the bottle of sanitizer back. So you gave it back to me. So now I am happy because I got the bottle back, which I lent it to you. You are happy because you made a profit from the falling prices of the bottle of sanitizer. Exactly how you make profit from the falling stock prices, from falling currencies, from falling stock markets, from falling stocks, from falling commodities, gold, oil, natural gas, rice, wheat, sugar, coffee, currencies, everything. Anything where the price falls, and if it is tradable in the stock market, you can do something called as a short selling process. Okay. Now, lot of countries, is there a cost of borrowing in the first place? No. So if you're borrowing the stock from the lender, if you're borrowing this from your broker, there is no cost of borrowing in this. You do not have to pay any extra cost. Yes, your profit is 50 dirhams in this transaction when the price went down. Right? Now, again, look at this example. Now we'll do the same example by shares. Just read this example first. So guys, another way of risk management is when you see that the markets are going down, don't be buy on everything. You can short sell some things and that can diversify your risk into a separate area. If you were buy on all these stocks at once and stock market falls, then your investments go down, right? But let's say if you short sell something, you're expecting few prices to drop, you're expecting few prices to go up. So if you have a mixture of this, then not your entire investment may be in a loss because you just diversified by short selling it. How easy it is to do it. Just read this example. Look at the first element, broker. Short seller borrows 10 shares of Microsoft stock. Short seller means you are the client right now. You are the short seller. You are the trader. What you did, you borrowed 10 shares of Microsoft stock, and you sold it into the market. By borrowing it from the broker, you sold it into the market. That time, the price of Microsoft share was $300 per share, right? Do it in your notebook. 10 shares you borrowed from your broker, sold it at a price of $300. So you write, you got $300 in your pocket. 300 multiplied by 10 because you have 10 shares, right? $3,000 right now plus, right? Plus in your notebook, $3,000. You borrowed from your broker, sold it to the market. Now, what happens? Step 3, stock price comes down. So what do? Stock price from $300 comes down to $200. Now what happens? When it comes down to $200, you go back in the market and buy these shares back for 200. So you sold it, you received $3,000, but now when you buy it back for $200 per share, which means you paid $2,000, 200 into 10, which means you have $1,000 profit, which means $100 per share profit. You bought it back for a cheaper price and you gave it back to your broker. So you made $1,000, right? How did you make money? You made money by short selling the stock. You made money when the stock price crashed. So that was my point to tell you that how you can make money from the falling market and how you can diversify your portfolio by short selling as well. Now look at this. Look at this. Right now I'm buy on Airbnb stock. Okay. So I want to book my profit. I click here on this red close. I see my profit. I close it. Trade closed. Profit booked. Now I'm left with all these four things, right? Which I'm on the buying side. Imagine I have a loss in oil because I am buying on to 20,000 barrels. So I have a loss of $8,000. Now imagine if I was on the short selling side, I would be in a profit of 8,000, right? Or let's say if I buy oil and if I had short sell gold, then maybe I was losing in oil, but I was making money in gold, right? So you can use short selling, and how you can do it very easily. Let's say, let me close this gold position right here. Or let's say, let me close this oil position right here. Okay, I'm booking my loss right now. So see how margin gets free when I close my oil position, $7,500. Okay, one question right here. When I buy, I actually buy a stock, but when I short sell, then who buys? So these are CFDs, these are derivatives. So when you are actually short selling it, just one second, sorry. Here. So when you are short selling, similarly, you borrowed it from the broker and you sold it to the market. So in the market, there are buyers and sellers. There could be people who want to buy the stock. There could be people who are short selling. But because in CFD market with CFD brokers, your immediate counterparty of the trade becomes the broker itself, which means when you are borrowing it from the broker, right? So you're borrowing, you are short selling it. So the broker on the other side is buying the stock, or there is somebody who is, they are matching the buyers and sellers together. So somebody who wants to buy can buy it from you, and you want to short sell it, so you are selling it. So it's between buyers and sellers, and when buyers and sellers are not available, the broker can be the counterparty of this trade and can provide you a platform for short selling as well, right? Again, guys, the idea is just understand the concept first, and then we'll move on to understand the technicalities of it, right? So right now, let's see the positions again. So I closed my oil trade, I booked my loss. Now let's see, I want to reverse this transaction. Okay, I'm just going to give you a short selling example right away. So I write crude oil. Let's take a stock right now. Okay, anybody who does not like any company, let's say any stock, I'll take, let's say, McDonald's, for example, just for the heck of it, or let's say, okay, McDonald's maybe. I look at McDonald's. Let me just log out and log in again. Just name the stock which you want me to short sell, and I'll show you how we can short sell. So now let's say if I'm expecting McDonald's stock prices to come down, all I have to do is instead of buy here, select a sell, write the total value, let's say $10,000 worth stocks I want to short sell. Same way, margin blocked 5% right here, short sell it. Now I have a sell position. So look, among all this B, there's a S, which means short sell. Now, if the stock value goes down for McDonald's, I'm going to make profit. But similar way, if the stock price starts going up, then I'm in a loss, right? So this is how normally we short sell the trade, and this is one way how you can manage your risk. So you don't really have to just always be on the buying side. Looking at the market, you can be short selling as well. Second last day will understand the technicals and support and resistance, which can help you to understand how we can short sell. So as I said, we'll take it day on day. No, I don't want to stress everything on one specific day. Now, very quickly before we finish, we'll look at some specific correlative sectors, and then we'll answer some questions before I finish. Just let these positions be like this. Uh, okay, so we understood how short selling works. We understood how stop loss works. So what a stop loss does, it kind of restricts your loss to a specific position, and you really have to be emotionally very stable and do not involve emotions when you're putting a stop loss, because stop loss does mean that if it hits that price, your loss will be booked, and it's the most toughest thing people do to put a stop loss. So if you are a regular person who is putting stop losses on all your trades, well done. It's not a very easy task. Now, few things to manage your risk: diversification. First thing I discussed yesterday, you can achieve portfolio diversification by investing into different areas, right? You invest a bit into money markets, then you invest into bonds where you receive the fixed income, then you invest into stocks. Even in stocks, you can invest into growth stocks like the tech, Apple, Google, Amazon's, and then you can invest into shares which gives you a fixed dividend like Coca-Cola, ExxonMobil, AT&T, Vodafone, Verizon, right? Then you can invest into real estate-based companies. You can trade, speculate, commodities. So you have to have a mixture, a diversification of the portfolio. Now, one of the most important things, guys, something what I was talking about yesterday was sectoral investing. The sectoral investing shows you proper correlations between different sectors. Look at this. This is something which is really important, guys. Just a proper feedback. Everybody can see this chart and everybody can hear me properly. Just give me a okay and yes. This is like last 5-10 minutes I'm going to speak, so I just want to make sure that everybody can see this. If you can see this properly, if you can hear me properly, just give me a yes or a okay. This is a very important chart. Okay, I just got, oh, okay, great. Okay, great. So what you see right now is the movement of the economy. Every economy has acceleration in economic growth when the markets are going up, right? Sorry, when the economy is growing at a faster pace. Then there is a moderate growth, then the growth starts going down, and then it reduces, right? So there are sectors which are changing with the economy. So when the economy is at its earlier phase, when the growth is accelerating at a very faster pace, boom, something what we call it. The sectors like consumer discretionary, take a picture of this if you want to, guys, or note it down. When the economy growth is at their early phase, these sectors are good to invest. Consumer discretionary is your luxuries and brands, okay? Financial sector, industrial sector, because a lot of growth, which means a lot of industrial growth as well. IT sector, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all these tech stocks. Then materials industry, like the construction industry. Yes, we'll have the recording of this webinar on YouTube, but I would suggest if you can stay for 5-10 minutes, that would be better. Recording will come out eventually once the sessions are over. Thank you. So right now, real estate sector, for example, material sector. So this is the early phase. Which sectors you should avoid? Energy, healthcare, and utilities. Okay, this is something which may underperform. And when I say underperform, doesn't mean it will be bad. Underperform means while there are few sectors which will get more boost, the other sectors might not be that uh, profit giving. Let's say if IT sector went up by 50%, so healthcare might have gone up by 5 or 6%, right? So whenever the economy is at the growing phase, at the accelerating early phase, when the markets are booming fast, you should invest into this sector. When you reach to a positive but a very moderate growth, not at the same pace and before, you start investing into IT and communication services, communication sector. Then when the growth rate slows down and the speed starts slowing down, you start switching to the sectors which you were not doing at the beginning. So healthcare, utilities, consumers. What are consumer staples? Consumer staples are your FMCG, your daily products, essentials, right? What you start getting rid of, consumer discretionary, IT. And when you see that it is near recession, definitely stick to healthcare, definitely stick to consumer staples and utilities, and get rid of IT, real estate, industrials, because that's the time when the growth is contracting, right? To sum this up further, if you have if you're seeing a slowing economy, so you use a defensive strategy. If you have if you're looking at a slow economy, if your goal is to reduce the risk in your portfolio, this is a very important thing, guys. Please note it down or look at this picture. If the economy is slowing, or if you have an outlook that there will be economic slowdown, then use a defensive strategy. You want to keep your portfolio less volatile and less risky. You start investing into what kind of sectors? Utilities, healthcare, and consumer staples. Okay, because these sectors typically outperform the market when the economy is slowing down, and they're less volatile, they're less fluctuating. Okay, ExxonMobil, Coca-Cola, uh, Pfizer, for example. So healthcare, utilities, and consumer staples. Not ExxonMobil, it's the energy sector. But look at these three sectors. Then, when you see a growing economy, opposite to what we were talking about right now, you think about opportunity. So now your goal is to enhance your return. So what do? You invest into IT sector, you invest into financial, banks, etc., consumer discretionary brands, because you're seeing a growth in this economy. So people will spend more money on technology, on financials, on consumer discretionary. Interest rates might go up, so that might increase the income of the banks. So when you are opportunistic, these are the sectors. When you are defensive, then these are the sectors. Please remember this, note it down. Defensive stocks have good dividends, but growth stocks like IT companies, they sometimes do not deliver any dividends, but they are more volatile. So if your strategy is less risky or less volatile, then please go for defensive strategy where you will have to invest into shares which are less volatile, but they give you a fixed income, fixed dividend. Okay. Next, preemptive strategy. When you are expecting, yesterday I told you that if you want to beat inflation, stocks and real estate are two important factors. So if you are expecting an increase in inflation and you want to protect the value of your money, then you should invest into sectors which are related to energy, because if things start getting expensive, then the fuel also starts getting expensive, so the oil prices increase. So it's good for energy stocks. So you start investing into energy, you start investing into material industry, real estate industry, right? Real estate stocks, if you're expecting rise in inflation, right? So these are few sectors which you can look into. Now this is a sector correlations chart. You can find this anywhere, guys. This is taken from the Bloomberg actually, but you can find it anywhere. These are different sectors and how it compares to. So, for example, consumer discretionary, the first one. If consumer discretionary goes up by 1%, then the consumer staples will go up by 0.5%, right? That means if the luxury brands go up by 1%, then the essential food product industry will grow by 0.5%. So this is the correlation, right? This is a positive correlation, but it is 0.5. The correlation between them is 0.5. That one goes up by 1%, other goes up by this much. Because people, when the brands are going higher, that means people have more money. They're buying big brands, they have more money to invest, right? So obviously the consumer discretionary is going to outperform the consumer staples. And if you see, very close to consumer discretionary in the same first row is financials, industrials, IT sector, materials, and then real estate. So all these sectors, they are more correlated positively together. The ones which are very less is, again, utilities, right? Similarly, look at this entire chart. So this will help you understand that if I'm investing into consumer discretionary, if I am buy on branded stocks, and if I am also buying consumer staples, Then if this goes down by 1%, then consumer staples will only go down by 0.5. So it's a positive correlation, and the positive correlation of 0.5. Obviously, there are consultants who can guide you on all these things, but this is, since we are doing an investor education week, so this is for your understanding. Now, there is one more last thing which you can see right now, which is another good way to diversify your risk, and it is called a pair trade or a market neutral strategy. Market neutral strategy, we can have a lot of discussion about this, but let's try to finish this today, and we'll have discussion tomorrow again while we are talking about pair trades. Pair trades is done between two relative instruments. When I say the word Pepsi, which is the next company comes into your mind which is related to Pepsi? Write it on the chat. When I say the word Pepsi, which is the next word comes into your mind? Okay, okay, great, great. So most of you, what I see that when hear the word Pepsi, the company which comes into your mind, Coca-Cola, right? If I say the word MasterCard, it will be Visa. So pair trading is done now, because now you know what short selling is. You will know how pair trade works. So look at this chart. This is a real chart between Ford and GM. Look how Ford and GM, they are almost moving together in the same direction. Sometimes the gray, which is GM, went higher, but Ford, due to some reason in 2014, went down. So there was a big gap created. The two companies which are very connected to each other, related to each other in their product specifications and target market, they used to move together, but GM went higher and something happened and some news, Ford came down. Now that's where the arbitrage opportunity got created. So if you short sell General Motors, which is outperforming, and if you buy a Ford, eventually you see in 2015 near the gap closes, which means for the GM comes down and the profit in short selling is higher than the loss in the buying position of the Ford. So this is called pair trades, guys. This is market neutral strategy. We'll discuss a lot about pair trades in the coming few sessions, and we'll have one-on-one sessions also. So to sum up today, we understood about pair trades. So we started with margin trading, leverage, risk. We started. We understood short selling, how we can profit from the falling markets. We talked about stop loss. We talked about diversification, sectoral diversification, what kind of sectors you should invest, looking at what kind of investment strategy you have. Talked about pair trades as well. We'll talk more about pair trades in the coming few sessions. Let me very quickly answer a few questions which were asked. Uh, 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 just one sec. Can you do again between what is the difference between leverage and margin? So leverage and margin is almost the same thing. If you invested $30,000 and you have take trades worth more than 30,000, it means leveraging on your trade. Leverage, the word itself means when you're taking higher position. It is also called gearing. So if you have $30,000, you're taking trades worth 60,000, it's leveraging. Okay. Also, there's a time limit on how long a short seller can hold on to it. There's no time limit on how long you can hold on to a stock. You short sell a stock, you can hold on to it as long as you want. There is no time limit to it. In Indian markets, there is, but in global markets, there is no time limit to it. As long as you have the money and the margin, you can hold on to this stock without any further. Okay. Is there a cost of borrowing? There is no cost of borrowing for short selling. Okay. Let me see a few more questions before I end this. We must be well aware about technical and fundamental, that will indicate but not dictate about crash. Definitely. So what we are going to do tomorrow is about the fundamental analysis, the market news and the impact, and then the technicals. So that will help us to identify good short selling levels also. Uh, so some basics. Anybody? We started with the very basic session. So please, if you want me to break it down more, let's have a one-on-one session. Talk to your relationship managers, and I will have a one-on-one session with you to speed you up with what we are discussing. So nothing to worry about. We can break it down for you. Okay, short selling, we do it. Okay, Okay, this is done. All the questions here, everything is done. Okay, great. So I think most of the questions have been answered. Anyone, if you have any other questions, okay. Before I leave, can you show your positions of the demo account? Sure, sure. I don't want to see what we are doing in the demo account right here. Okay, so right now I have, as you can see, a small profit on my short selling position of McDonald's. So that's $14 profit. Gold loss is still 1450, 1480, while Tesla Motors I have a loss of $60. But guys, again, these are randomly taken trades. So this is just to show you how to place a trade. Obviously, tomorrow when we learn about fundamentals and technicals, we'll see what are the important things. See, even when you randomly take a trade, you short sell one and you buy another, you see a small profit in one position. So what I'm trying to tell you is, guys, diversification is very important. Don't get fixed on one specific instrument. When would I be able to get my RM demo account? Right away when I hang up, please, I'll make sure that I'll just write your name. You will get an RM and a demo account right away. Those who have joined today, I'm sure you must have been connected by someone or some RM. So call them. If not, then email me at yogesh@century.ae and I will provide you an RM and with a demo account right away. Okay, great. I will share my contact number as well for a one-on-one session. So those who want to have a one-on-one session, please talk to your RMs and we'll have a one-on-one session as well. So till then, tomorrow when we meet, please come tomorrow as well. We'll discuss about fundamental analysis, important market news, impact of elections, Brexits, pandemics, earning season, how to trade in earning season, and more before we move on to the technical bit. Till then, do the trades today. Please do short selling in your demo accounts. Go crazy. Take as much leverage as you want so that you can understand the risk of it. Okay, but please in your live accounts do not do any such things without consulting your financial consultant, right? Once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining on day two. It's a pleasure to see all the familiar names from yesterday and some new names added today. My name is Yogesh. Please stay home, stay safe, stay in good health. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 7 to 8 p.m. Bring your notepads, have your demo accounts with you, and tomorrow definitely we are going to learn something new and something really interesting. Have a great night ahead.